Levick, great to have you. We should tell everyone, House Press Secretary Caroline Levick, great to have you. We should tell everyone she has a very important meeting in the mornings, which is why we don't see her all the time. But we're happy to have you here, Caroline. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much, Dana. It's good to see you.
Okay, so it's day 2 of this. I think that it's important just to revisit, even though I know you've done it elsewhere, the claims that Democrats are making here. Watch.
They're lying. They're just outright lying.
That is a bold-faced lie, and it really shows how desperate they are.
This is also an outright lie. There is nothing in anything that we have proposed that is trying to change that law.
They make up lies, absolute lies. They say, oh, what they're fighting to do is prevent, say, illegal immigrants from getting federal health care dollars. That is a damn lie.
I feel like they've walked into a bit of a trap, because your point is that if they were to make these changes, it would allow states to use federal dollars to help give illegal immigrants health care. Go.
Yes, that's exactly right, Dana. In fact, I have the Democrat proposed continuing resolution right here, where you can read in the text a provision that would remove the provision that Republicans passed in President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill to ensure that illegal aliens in our country cannot receive Medicaid and taxpayer-funded health care benefits. That was happening under the Biden administrations, and the Democrats endorsed it, encouraged it, and vocally supported it. Joe Biden and the Democrats allowed millions and millions of illegal aliens into our country. They paroled them into the country. They gave them a Band-Aid called temporary protective status. They completely abused our immigration system. And then those illegal aliens were receiving the taxpayer-funded health care benefits of hardworking American taxpayers. That's why wait times at hospitals went through the roof under the Biden administration. And that's why the Trump administration and President Donald Trump immediately fixed this and changed it into law with the One Big Beautiful Bill. And now Democrats, rather than just passing a clean continuing resolution to keep the government funded, which is what the president and Republicans want, they submitted a continuing resolution that puts this poison pill back into law. That's what they want to do. And it's completely unacceptable. President Trump ran on the promise to end taxpayer-funded benefits going to illegal aliens. And tens of millions of Americans across the country voted him back to this beautiful White House to implement that promise, and he did. And now Democrats want to undo it, and they are holding our country hostage. They are holding the American people hostage for this wildly unpopular proposal to give taxpayer-funded benefits to illegals, and now they're lying about it, and they know it.
On that argument, 90 minutes ago, Jeanne Shaheen, the Democratic senator from your home state of New Hampshire, was here on Fox and said that's all, that argument's a red herring. That was her position when it was put to her. She's also one of 7 Democratic senators listed today in Axios who could defect or crack. Has the White House or leading Republicans heard from any of those 7 that would get you to a number that would be able to end the shutdown?
Well, as the vice president said at the White House press briefing yesterday, he and our legislative affairs shop and the president himself continue to be in very important discussions with these moderate Democrats and also with our allies, Senate Republicans, who have good relationships with these moderates. And they know what the right thing to do is. They just lack the courage to do it. But they need to step up, and they need to vote for this clean continuing resolution to keep the government open that they voted for as recently as March, that they voted for 13 times previously in the past. So there is zero excuse for them to shut down our government right now, and they know it. And very soon, the American people and their constituents back home in states from New Hampshire to Nevada to Arizona to Florida are going to start feeling the pinch of this Democrat-led shutdown. We have millions of troops who are currently going without pay. We have women, children, and infants who cannot apply for a very important WIC program for that critical food and life assistance. And you also look at air traffic controllers who are now having to work without pay. These are critical consequences, and it's the Democrats' fault. And they have a chance to reverse course, and they should.
Somebody earlier on our program said that Russell Vought went ahead and signed off so that every military member does get pay. But are you saying that they're working now without?
Well, we are certainly looking into how we can fix this problem. And look, we have $0 coming into the federal government right now because the Democrats shut it down. So what Russ Vought is working diligently on is examining how we can fix this mess to ensure that critical funding continues, that we can get people paid. But the Democrats are making that very difficult. And that's why the president put out a statement this morning saying that we're going to start looking across the board at layoffs and at agencies that we feel do not best serve the American taxpayer, that may need to be halted or permanently cut.
So on that, I wanted to ask you about that because he mentioned Russ Vought in that. I think that came out about 8 o'clock this morning about cutting certain programs that they deem are not necessary. Is that real or is that a negotiating tactic?
Oh, it's very real. And the Democrats should know that they put the White House and the president in this position. And if they don't want further harm on their constituents back home, then they need to reopen the government. It's very simple. Pass the clean continuing resolution, and all of this goes away. We would not be having these discussions here at the White House today if not for the Democrats voting to shut the government down. This is an unfortunate consequence, and the president and Russ Vought will be meeting on that later today.
How much do you think this has to do with the personal politics of the upcoming race here in New York for Senator Chuck Schumer, who could be facing a primary from somebody like AOC or maybe somebody else who just wants to challenge the generational divide?
Well, look, I can't speak for Senator Schumer, nor do I want to be tasked with that. But I do believe politics is very much at play here, and I think that's deeply unfortunate because if you look at the polling, a recent New York Times poll, for example, 2 in 3 Americans across the country want the government to be open, and that includes New Yorkers in his own state who are now suffering as a result of the shutdown that Senator Schumer is leading.
Okay, last question on this. Do you brief today? And if you do, will the vice president be with you again?
Not today, but I'm very grateful for the vice president's time yesterday, and I know he's continuing to work very hard alongside the president and our entire team to try and get this government back open.
Okay, but are you briefing today?
No briefing today, but I'll see you tomorrow.
I want to move to different matters here. There's a report